Et donc je disais, est-ce qu'elle a préféré jouer la première version de Helena ou la deuxième quand elle devient un peu sympa?
Yeah, did you, because you had a complete personality
I thought that's
change,
what you were saying.
yeah. And so did you prefer playing the first role?
I really enjoyed playing the first role. I mean, I don't see it quite so differently. I had to make sense of it. So I don't see it as two completely different personalities. I had to sort of, for me, I had to try and understand why she changed, and it was because she had her heart broken, and also when she had her money taken away, she lost her confidence. I did really enjoy the sort of the more aggressive Helena, the sort of alpha female. I did like playing those scenes a lot, and I think what happened was that what they needed to do to keep Helena in the seasons, to keep her part of this group, they had to soften her, because otherwise she would always be on the outside, always be the villain. And I don't think they could have kept her character present if she was like that. And I think they also write to an actress's strengths as well. And I think if they spend time with you and they see you being who you are, they bring more of that in. And I hope I'm not that aggressive I'm not that aggressive person, so I think they started to write more.
Mais est-ce que
like more of a geek, which is more I am.
Au fait, est-ce que ce qui a fait ton succès immédiat dans la série, c'est surtout la Helena Beach? Je crois que ça a un effet sur les hormones des filles vachement plus... She's not going to translate this.
Yeah, you usually get a more diluted version.
She's British.
No, she was saying that the first Helena, it was a very powerful role and had a real impact on the hormones of the viewers. Do you think that first role had more success in a sense as with the audience?
She made an impact, definitely made a bigger impact, but that was so much to do with coming in. I mean, Bette and Tina have always been the bedrock of the show. Their relationship, everyone wants them to be together. So when someone comes between them, they always, people hate them. And I think that's why the reaction was so strong, not necessarily because of my particular character. I think whichever character had come in. I mean, I think it's really hard for anyone to play either of their love interests and to be accepted by the audience, because even Marlee Matlin, who played Jodie, who's, played a great character, she's a fantastic actress, people didn't embrace her so fully because she came between, and she wasn't a negative, she had no negative traits, she wasn't like Helena was. She didn't come in to split them up, she didn't come in aggressively, and still people didn't take to her as the character.
Est-ce que tu crois que tu as remplacé un peu Karina Lombard, en fait, un peu le rôle de la femme fatale qu'elle a pu jouer au début, et puis elle a disparu très vite. Elle était l'idole des premières saisons. Ça a laissé un peu beaucoup de déception. Est-ce que tu crois que tu as été casté d'une part pour apporter un nouveau rôle, comme tu viens de le dire, c'est trop long, hein. Et est-ce que ça a joué dans la décision de te choisir?
So do you think you were sort of filling the void that Karina Lombard left, in a sense, and you stepped into that sort of femme fatale role?
I think initially, yes, like I say, initially, you can't replace that character. I mean, she was quite different as well from Helena. She was very sensual and I think Helena was always meant to be a bit sharper and a bit harder than that. So I couldn't have replaced her, but I know what you mean. There was definitely a space there that they wanted what they wanted was a sort of negative character, one that you love to hate. Now, why, like your first question, why they didn't continue that, I'm sure there were a million reasons which I was never privy to. They didn't. There was talk at the end of the first season to have Helena become Bette's boss. at the CAC, I think it was then. And for that to be the next storyline, that I'm her boss and I continue to be. And I don't really know why that went away. I don't know. I mean, it could have continued, but I think it would have been hard to maintain it.
Ouais.
She just, a character like that just would become so sidelined that how could you have her there all the time? Because people would just, she would never be social, she'd never socialise with Beth, she'd never be accepted into the group, and that's what they obviously felt they needed to do. And I think they often, a ploy often within L Word was if you wanted a character to be more liked, you made them friendly with either Lisha or Shane. And then everyone took to them because they took to them. And I think that's what they did with me. They made Lisha and Alice, obviously, you know, become more friendly with Helena. Because if Alice accepts her.
Ce qui était très déroutant, la bonne surprise au fait, c'était lorsque tu es passé du rôle justement de Helena, femme fatale, au rôle de Helena comique, et c'était assez déroutant parce que en fait tu es très à l'aise dans les deux. Comment tu as pu travailler ce switch, parce que est-ce que tu crois que tu as ce potentiel comique en toi? Tu peux peut-être essayer en même temps, ça sera peut-être plus facile.
Yeah, how did it feel actually making that switch between the first role, the sort of rich bitch, and the comic role in the next series? I mean,
dis-lui parce qu'elle est très crédible, un potentiel comique très fort.
Yeah, you have a very strong, comic side.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it. What was interesting was that before I was cast as Helena, and I'd been working predominantly in England and in Europe, and I'd been playing, all the roles that I'd played had been very, I mean, maybe it was something to do with my age and my accent when I, going to America. But I'd nearly always played these very sweet, sort of Mary Poppins kind of characters, and very sort of, I'd always be sweet, big-eyed, and then something awful would happen and I would die, and, it would be like, oh. And so to go from that to playing Helena was quite a shift, and then to go from that to playing comedy I was like, but this is great. They're letting me do all these things. And I have to say that I really enjoyed the comedy. I really enjoyed it, but I did feel it was not quite new ground, but it was different ground for me. It was different kind of work, and I really had to look to Lisha to help me, and whoever was directing, because Lisha is such a natural. She just can't help. She's funny off camera as well. She's just hilarious. And, I did pick up a lot from her, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it's fantastic as an actress to play all these different facets, all these different parts. Like you say, you can talk about the actual character, maybe took a weird route, but for me playing the role, I can't really question that. I have to accept it and find a path that makes sense through it.
Et après, tu es passé d'un rôle donc très glamour dans L Word. Après, tu as travaillé pour un film d'horreur. Je parle de Children.
Oh yeah.
Comment c'était c'est pareil, est-ce que tu as pu mettre Helena de côté pour jouer The Children, ou est-ce qu'elle était encore avec toi un peu?
So when you change roles from being the glamorous Helena Peabody to this role in the horror movie, did you manage to get away from the Helena role and
yeah, I think so. I hope so. God, I hope so. I mean, it's also quite a long time for the actresses. I don't know, when did we shoot that? I think I'd played Helena in November. I'd played another role, another TV thing in December, and then I did The Children in February. So you move on. I played a policewoman in between, so you do move on, and when you submerge yourself in a character, that's ideally what you do. So yes, you try and leave behind the old characters. I think it's very hard to take yourself out of the equation and your own character. So there's always going to be a through line of your own self that comes through.
Est-ce que tu crois aussi le fait d'avoir joué un rôle de lesbienne, est-ce que tu crois que c'est foutu pour toi pour jouer par exemple une James Bond girl, genre la femme fatale?
Do you think having
Lesbian
played
role,
this lesbian role, it could affect your chances of being a femme fatale in a James Bond film or something like that?
I don't think so. I mean,
No?
I shouldn't think so.
No.
I mean, I think also L word is much bigger in the States than it is
Oui.
in England. I don't know about the rest of Europe. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Ooh, it's quite stuffy down here, isn't it?